Hey there, everyone, and welcome inside the Bahakel Sports Studio for the latest episode of Game On. I'm Bahakel Sports Director Jeff Taylor alongside Jack Taylor. Hey, man, how are you?
Good, I'm doing all right.
All right, here we go. Every Monday night, we take a look back at some of the great high school sports action from the week before, and we get you set for the week ahead. And to get us started, let's do some football. It's Independence taking on Charlotte Catholic. Standing room only at Charlotte Catholic quickly became jumping room only. The fans getting into it. The Big I Independence plays Catholic in a classic. Catholic had the lead at halftime, but Jaden the Jet Jones has been cleared for takeoff. Jones, it's the turbo. Jones has a flying 6 for 6 from 50 yards out. 14-10, Catholic marches down the field into the red zone, but that's when the Rockin' Reddish boys take the ball away. Quentin with the strip, Nick with the recovery. 17-10, game in the fourth quarter. Justin Little airs it out deep to the unstoppable Vontrez Birch-Trez. 24-10, the Big I flexes on the road. Catholic would not win, but behold, maybe the catch of the year. Jack Larson, watch this catch by Larson. He's going to Notre Dame. Art in full speed. The Patriots win this one, 24-10.
Impressive win from Independence.
Absolutely.
24 unanswered. Well, on we go. One of the most storied rivalries in the area between Huff and Chambers. Two heavyweights in the Queen City Conference have had up and down seasons so far and looking to build momentum. So let's look at Huff. Out over in the halftime, trying to get one in the corner, not able to connect. So Huff had a 10-7 lead going into the locker room. Going in the second half now, we're going to see as the quarterback's going to take it himself, try to get some yards. The pads are popping, and he's going to get hit there. Now on the other side, you see the pass to the flats. Blakeney's going to find Will Jones. He's going to get drilled for a huge gain. But Chambers' defense comes up once again as they get into the red zone. Jones trying to find some room out here, but he's going to get swallowed by Michael Griffin in the backfield. And that was a good game for Nolan Hooser, who nails a school record 53-yard field goal to extend his national record to 60 made in his career. That's going to put Huff over top of Chambers, 19-13 at home.
All right, so right up the road, Hopewell played host to heavyweight Mallard Creek. The Titans had their best to the season in over a decade, the best start. Looking to keep up the momentum. Benjamin Black, opening kickoff. Here we go, folks. Check out this return.
Yeah, look at him, stiff arm going the other direction.
Exactly. Back and forth, back and forth. He's going to find open field. Guess what? That is a touchdown. Jack didn't do it, though.
Nope.
You didn't shoot that one, did you?
Nope.
Check it out. A little bit later, Caleb Knight is going to call his own number for Mallard Creek, and it's going to come up here in just a sec. He's going to call his own number. Mallard Creek is going to win this one big time, 48-0 over Hopewell. Look at my man run.
Now we take a look at a historic rivalry that took no time to get going. First play, Katie Smith to Dante Nicholson. He's going to get one all the way in the end zone there. Now they're going to keep running up the score here for this game. West Charlotte looking to be the only West school in the area. Crazy punt flying away all the way into the end zone. It's a common occurrence. He tries to send it even farther. Kicking it would have been a penalty, but they recover to get the touchdown as well. Now take a look at this. The ensuing extra point, they want to keep the score going. Jamari Smith fakes it, takes it out to the side, and just barely outruns the defender to take it in for 2. West Charlotte would not let up in this one. You see Scotty Cooper just a few drives later. Barreling run. He's not going to get stopped.
Kept the feet moving.
Yep, another touchdown for West Charlotte. West Meck would eventually finally get on the board, but at that point, it's going to be too little too late for West Meck. The Lion Hawks Classic Trophy is going to stay with West Charlotte.
Congratulations to them. So another great Friday night of football filled with all kinds of action. And to help us break it all down and look to next week, we are joined by Reggie Walker, our Bahakel Sports Analyst, who you can catch every Friday night on Bahakel Sports Game of the Week. Reggie, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Jeff. How are you guys doing back in the studio? I should say JT squared.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, JT squared.
Exactly. We're doing great, man. Hey, so let's talk about this past Friday night and our game of the week, which was West Meck, and they traveled out to West Charlotte, who may very well be the hottest team in the area. What'd you take away from that matchup, Reggie?
Well, I thought there was a couple of things, and let me give a lot of credit to head coach Sam Griner of West Charlotte to start this thing off. You guys just talked about and outlined that sequence with the punt situation and then the extra point to get to. I thought Sam Griner managed that stretch of the game about as well as you could, understanding how to manage and use those timeouts to force West Meck to have to punt the football there, and it worked out. He was excellent in that, what I call that middle third, that 8 minutes to 4 minutes at the end of the second quarter and the 4 minutes at the beginning of the third quarter. He was excellent there. But I want to give even more credit to Katie Smith. This is a kid, everybody knows, he's not going to play quarterback in college. He's going to play in college, but he's not going to play quarterback. But his leadership his ability to just figure out what they need at the right time and not waste any opportunities in terms of making plays takes them, I think, is what takes them over the top. He's just a true leader, and that's what Sam Griner talked about as to why they sort of went with that change to put him there. But his leadership is infectious, and you can see it bleeding through that entire football team.
Now, Reggie, we talk obviously about Sam Griner, his success. We saw it in Harding, able to bring a state championship. I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you think he replicates that success this season?
I think they have a chance. I mean, obviously, you know, when you've got a group of players like K.D. Smith at the quarterback position, they've got a bevy of backs. I love to use that phrase when there's multiple guys that can carry the football well. But what I think makes them special, they've got about 4 or 5 linebackers. Obviously, we know about Jaden Smith, but we got to think about Bullard and Little John and some of those other guys. And I know I'm missing a couple of names, but that group on the defensive side of the ball, the way they come downhill and they attack aggressively on the defensive side, I think it just makes this football team that much more special because it doesn't matter who it is. One of those guys is going to make a play that really changes the complexion of a football game. And I think anytime you have a difference maker, like I outlined with K.D. Smith on the offensive side, you've got a difference maker like I outlined with Jaden Smith on the defensive side. And then you've got a bunch of other guys, those other linebackers that I just mentioned, that consistently flash, and an offensive line that's just bad company, quite frankly, when it comes to run blocking. That's a recipe to have a championship caliber football team.
So, Reggie, this coming Friday night, we have the Battle of the Ridges as Porter Ridge travels to Marvin Ridge to take on that team. Give us your thoughts on that matchup.
I think this is going to be a very interesting game. It's going to come down, I always say this is going to come down to the trenches, but I think Evan Metters is one of those guys at the quarterback position for Marvin Ridge that you're going to have to keep an eye on. This young man, I really like his game, and what I think is special about him, even to an extent more than people realize, obviously he can move his feet and make plays in the running game, but I think he's one of the best guys. And guys, I'll be honest, I'm not comparing him overall, but I haven't seen anybody throw this well while moving since probably Sam Howell in this area in terms of high school football. There's some other guys that may be a little bit more athletic, some other guys that may have a bigger arm, but Metter's ability to throw on the move, whether he's moving right or moving left, and throw the football with accuracy, that's hard, very hard to replicate, and I think he's one of the best at doing that. I think that's going to be a key in this game. If he's able to get those throws off and be as accurate as I've seen him be so far doing that, I think they've got a very good chance to win the football game and a very good chance to really have a potentially special season.
Reggie, final question for you. We're almost halfway through the season. So as we take a look at the landscape of high school football in the Queen City, what are some of the surprises out there, both good and bad, when it comes to some of these teams?
Well, look, I think we all knew Butler was going to be good. I don't think we realized they were this good, right? And that's a very impressive thing. But I want to give credit to another couple of teams that we knew would probably, or we expected to be pretty good in Huff and Independence as well. They didn't start the season off very well. Myers Park either, right? All three of those programs really did not start the season off well. We had them early in the season, losses early, and really kind of you started to wonder what those programs were going to become this year, and they've bounced back rather nicely. You guys just outlined Huff beating Chambers this week, Independence and Quentin Reddish and that defense, just 10 points, I believe, surrendered the last 2 weeks. So an excellent overall performance by them as well at Independence. Coach DJ McFadden Jr., a great coach, but he's had to manage the expectations this year. The expectations weren't as high last year. They're much higher this year. Early in the year, they kind of got beat up a little bit, lost a little bit, but they're bouncing back strong. And then I think, to me, the ultimate is what's going on up at Lake Norman. You have to give Coach Oliphant a lot of credit. And the reason why I like that football team and give them so much credence here is they changed their offense based on the personnel they have, and they're still finding a way to win games. It doesn't matter who they play, they find a way. We had them earlier in the year against Marvin Ridge up there, and they came back in that game. They were out of that football game, guys. That game was over. And I think some people were ready to leave and go home. and all of a sudden they come all the way back and they win that football game. The resolve, the resiliency, and the stick-to-itiveness and tenacity of that football team. Listen, and I don't mean this in any disrespect to any of those players on that team. That's not the most athletic bunch. It's not the biggest bunch. It's not the fastest bunch. Yeah. But they've got enough guys that can do a little bit of those things, and they play so well together. They're a unit. As one coach used to say, be a fist, right? Be a fist. Don't be 5 individual fingers. They're the epitome of being a fist right there, and you have to give Coach Oliphant a lot of credit for what's going on up at Lake Norman High School.
As always, Reggie Walker, thanks for your time. Looking forward to hearing the call Friday night on our Bahakel Sports Game of the Week between Porter Ridge and Marvin Ridge in their first conference game of the season. Reggie, thanks so much, partner. Hey, game kicks off at 7, and you can catch it live on BahakelSports.com. And now for all your football highlights and scores, make sure you head over to BahakelSports.com every Friday night at 11 for the Blitz, as the Bahakel Sports team is bringing you up to date on all the gridiron action. Coming up next, we'll take a look at some of the boys' soccer and girls' volleyball matchups that took place last week. Game on, rolls on.
Game on BahakelSports.com is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back in the Bahakel Sports Studio. I'm Bahakel Sports Director Jeff Taylor alongside Jack Taylor, and this is Game On. Now, while things are starting to heat up on the gridiron, the action on the volleyball courts and soccer fields in our area are also in full swing, and we start this recap of last week's action with some girls volleyball, a matchup between Butler and Independence. Now, the Bulldogs of Butler came into this matchup with a strong 12-1 record and looking to remain perfect in the Southwestern 4A Conference. As for Independence, the Lady Patriots came into this one in second place in the conference and undefeated also in conference play. The two teams would battle it out on the court, but in the end, Butler came out on top in this one, 3-1 to stay undefeated in conference play. The Bulldogs went on to beat Garinger last Thursday and now sit at 14-1 on the season. Independence went on to defeat Porter Ridge last Wednesday, and now they sit at 8-4 on the season. After the game, Bahakel Sports' Kendall Lewis caught up with Butler head coach Tony Boney.
Kendall Lewis here with Coach Boney as we come back to you at Independence High School tonight, where Butler just won this one in dramatic fashion in 4 sets over the Independence Patriots. I'm here with Coach Boney now. Coach, you move into sole possession of first place with this win tonight in front of a very raucous environment.
I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm still shaking. I mean, but you want games like this. These are the games that you train for. Every single practice, every game, this is what you train for.
You told me earlier today, you said this is a young team. You've had a couple of injuries. How did you think some of those young players like Addie Saunders, Bree Sinnott, you talk about Mackenzie Taylor, how big were they down the stretch of this match?
God, they mean everything to this team. Just being able to step up when we need them for important plays, being smart, knowing where to place the ball, because it's not always about the power hit. Sometimes it's all about placing the ball in the right spot at the right time.
Yeah.
So our girls just knowing how to do that and just playing together is huge.
Absolutely. That's head coach Tony Boney, and her Butler Bulldogs are 13-1, 6-0 in the Southwestern 4A Conference.
So it appears the Butler Bulldogs are on a roll this season, and one game that is coming up this week, actually tomorrow night, is a home game against Providence. Now, even though Providence sits at 4-12, Coach Boney, this one is a matchup she says they should not overlook. Here's what she had to say about that game.
Coach, you take on Providence next Friday night. What is it going to be to get ready for a very good Panthers team?
It's definitely going to take us watching some game film, seeing what they do well, and what works offensively for us against their defense, and just preparing like we would prepare for anybody else. But this is going to be a big win as well, so we need to make sure that we are prepared going into that game.
Butler and Providence. Get your popcorn ready, folks. The Southwestern 4A Conference continues.
Indeed, get your popcorn ready. Hey, next up, we're going to take you to check out Cuthbertson taking on Porter Ridge. This was a Carolina 4A conference matchup. Both teams coming into this one looking for something positive. Neither team with a conference win on the season. Cuthbertson would jump out to an early 2-set lead on the night, but Porter Ridge would not go away quietly. The Lady Pirates win the third set 26-24, but the Lady Cavaliers would win the fourth set in a close one, 25-19, and get the win 3-1. Cuthbertson, with their first conference win on the season, they sit at 6-11 overall, while Porter Ridge is 7-6 on the season.
On we go, and this is another Carolina 4A matchup as Sun Valley took on Weddington. The Lady Warriors and the Lady Spartans would split the first 2 sets in this one. Weddington would take the next 2 in what turned out to be a lights-out volleyball matchup. A lot of rallying, of course, that's what makes the sport so awesome. All 4 sets were won by 5 points or less. Both teams putting up at least 20 points in each set. Weddington wins this one 3-1. After the end of the week, the Sun Valley ladies are 10-9 on the season and 3rd in the conference. Weddington 10-6 and currently 2nd in the conference.
On we go. This is Barry and Olympic, a South Meck 4A matchup that took place last week between Barry and Olympic. Both teams coming into this one looking for their first conference win. The Lady Cardinals from Barry would win the first set in a close one, 25-20, and then would show their strength and dominate the last 2 sets to win this one. It is a sweep, 3-0. Barry gets their first conference win of the season and are currently 5th in the South Meck 4A, while Olympic is still looking for that elusive first conference win. They are currently 6th in the conference. Their next shot at a conference win is early October when they play Palisades. Now, on to soccer and what we like to call our Goal Zone feature, where we take you around the area for action on the soccer field. And we start with Metrolina making the trip to Piedmont. This one would have plenty of scoring actions. The teams combined to score 9 goals. Wow. Piedmont would win this one 6-3 and now set at 8-2 on the season. They are tied with Forest Hills for the conference lead at 3-1. This week, Piedmont plays at Parkwood on Tuesday and West Stanley on Thursday.
Now next up is Providence, who traveled all the way to take on Marvin Ridge. This one had some offense also, as the teams scored 6 goals on the day. Marvin Ridge would win this one 4-2. Providence is now 2-6-2 on the season, while Marvin Ridge is 7-4. Liam Galvin leads Marvin Ridge on the season with 8 goals, while Paul Artis leads the Panthers of Providence with 4 goals. Providence next plays Rocky River and Garinger this coming week.
And on we go with some more highlights for you. Once again, we stay at Marvin Ridge, who played host to Porter Ridge.
Little game of the week preview.
Yeah, exactly. The Battle of the Ridges, but not on the football field. And in this one, Porter Ridge would get the win in a close one, 3-2. With the win, Porter Ridge now sits at 10-2-1 on the season. Porter Ridge has won 5 of its last 6 games on the soccer field. They play at Weddington on Wednesday night, while Marvin Ridge plays at Cuthbertson in a midweek matchup.
Let's keep rolling now. Barry made a trip out to Audrey Kell. Now this one, spoiler alert, all AK. The Knights scoring 9 in this one. My word. While the defense pitched a shutout. It's one thing to score 9 goals, but then to not have any score on you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not what you want to see when you go home. The Knights with 9-0 win and are now 7-4-2 on the season. They're led in scoring this season by senior Amro Shabika, who has 5 goals. Barry still looking for their first win of the season as they sit at 0-8-1. Barry playing at Myers Park on Thursday. And up next for AK is a trip to South Meck tomorrow. Then they host Olympic on Thursday.
And don't adjust your TV. Audrey Kell also on the road last week. They traveled to Myers Park, and this one would end up in a draw. Scoring the 2 goals for the Knights of AK were Amro Shabika and senior Junior Ramirez, while the 2 goals for Myers Park came off the feet of senior Shane Kelly and junior Adian Wilson. We told you about the week ahead for AK. Myers Park, who is 3-0-3 on the season, play Barry and Olympic this week. 2 important conference games for the Mustangs of Myers Park.
Now, our final stop for our goal zone is A.L. Brown at Western Cabarrus. In this one, A.L. Brown would get the win 2-0.
Yep, A.L. Brown now sits at 8-0-3 on the season and are led in scoring by junior Eric Sotos Flores, who has 13 goals on the season. A.L. Brown plays at Mooresville this week. As for Western Cabarrus, they are 12-2 on the season. They are led in scoring by Drew Waller, who, get this, 27 goals on the season.
Oh, my God.
27. There's some teams that don't even have that many on the year.
No.
This week they play Mooresville and Mallard Creek. Hey, stick around. We still have more for you on Game On. Coming up next, we check in on the West Charlotte football team. It's one of the early surprises this high school football season. We'll be right back.
Game On BahakelSports.com is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Game On, where each Monday we bring you the best highlights from the week before and we get you set for the week ahead. I'm alongside Jack Taylor.
And we also like to bring you some of the stories that make high school sports so great, like a football team no one was really talking about before this season was started, and now they might be the hottest team in the Queen City.
The West Charlotte Lions were on a mission over the summer to prove they were the kings of the jungle. Undefeated after a month of football, they're certainly on the right track, and they gave their opponents fair warning.
We was trying to let everybody know. Now everybody want to jump shit. West Charlotte did like, nah, like we really want people to like stay where they was at before the season started, and like, you know what I'm saying? We just gonna keep this thing rolling.
But they're not satisfied. Even after early routes of Palisades and Monroe, they felt they had left points off the board.
Like, we can't get comfortable right now. Like, yeah, we 4-0. We know we might be ranked number 2, but we're not even worried about that.
In the month of September, they caught their stride, coming out strong in multiple standout games. First, a last-second victory over longtime rivals, the Independence Patriots, and then a goal line stop on the road to take down the heavyweight high school in Mallard Creek for the first time since Sam Griner took over.
Man, that draw right there, it was like a movie for real, you know? Like, we just was going by our motto, man, the throne, got through the tough times, and that's really all our team is about, for real.
You got to find ways to win. You know, winners find a way, and I feel like this team has a whole group of winners. And if they're freshmen, sophomores, or seniors, the whole key is they're resilient. They understand what this means to them this season.
So go on and doubt Dub C and the Ford boys all you want. They dare you to be surprised come December.
You know, when the dust settles, are they a believer or not? The whole key is the guys that we fight with, the coaches we play with, the administration we have at West Charlotte, they believe. The people that matter, the ones that are close to us, believe, and that's the only support we need.
Reporting in Charlotte, Jack Taylor, Bahakel Sports.
You talk about Deion Sanders, people not believing he's all hyped up on his team. It's what Griner was sounding like when I was interviewing him.
Great story. I am a believer. I mean, you're talking, I mean, what they've done is amazing. And also the fact that, you know, they hadn't played, you know, at a home game in 4 years.
That's the craziest part.
And then they got their stadium back, and they've had the 2 close wins. And Reggie Walker mentioned them. I mean, can they win a state championship? I'm a believer right now.
Look, they've got one of the toughest conferences to try to go up against. You got Mallard Creek, Huff. They've already taken down one of them. They got Huff in a few weeks. They got at Hopewell this week. So that should be another game where they're trying to get, you know, their feet under them. Hopewell had that bad route against Mallard Creek, so they're going to try to make it a moral victory.
They're a little fired up.
But West Charlotte, yeah, they are one of the more surprising teams right now, and you can see all those reasons why.
And congrats to Sam Griner.
Yep.
Heck of a coach. Hey, stick around. We have one more segment of Game On coming up next. We'll tell you all about the action you can catch next week on BahakelSports.com. We'll be right back.
Game On BahakelSports.com is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Welcome back to Game On. As we wrap it up, just a quick reminder that this week you can catch some exciting high school sports action right here on BahakelSports.com as we live stream a couple of events. The first, boys soccer, as Palisades takes on Garinger. Garinger is undefeated in conference play and has not lost since their first game of the season. Palisades, of course, like all of the teams, they are only 2 years old, a lot of teams, and are looking to make that splash.
Yep, and then we've got our football as well. We've got Porter Ridge up against Marvin Ridge in our game of the week. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. in that one. Let's take a look as the Southern Carolina Conference finally opened up league play. One of the last conferences around to do so, and they're starting things off strong. Porter Ridge up against Marvin Ridge, and these two teams are no stranger to the BahakelSports.com game of the week spotlight. Both teams lost their marquee matchups to Lake Norman and Monroe, respectively. Now, both teams are also coming off of bye weeks, and each of them are looking to regroup after a Week 5 loss. Very similar schedules so far for these two teams. Both squads are above 500, though. The Pirates are going to need to pull out all the stops on defense because while Marvin Ridge is 3-2, the box score does not show that. Right. Quarterback Evan Metters, he's tacked on 9 total touchdowns and over 1,000 yards from scrimmage, while their running back Jeremiah Lazewski is averaging nearly 150 yards per game. So they're going to have their work cut out for him.
Metters can sling the ball.
He can, on the run like Reggie was saying, and in the pocket.
Absolutely. So, hey, listen, of course, we'll have all the scores and highlights from Friday night's action on the Blitz. Friday night at 11 o'clock, streaming live on BahakelSports.com. Until then, have a great week. Enjoy the high school sports, and we'll see you Friday night.